So
Recording in
tomorrow,
progress.
things will go on as scheduled for the Aggies. I have Nicole Sack, our associate AD for marketing, here to make sure that I don't have any missteps with the schedule. But with our homecoming game, we've got the parade that will start at 9 o'clock, 9:30. Okay, that start at 9:30. Nothing will change there. The tailgate lots will open at 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. So tailgating will be allowed if people are interested. We have a basketball open practice in the Pan American Center from 1 to 3. So people will be, anybody can come into the Pan Am and watch the basketball team practice. We will have our kids zone set up. The foundation will have they were the homecoming sponsor. They will have their tailgate in full swing. The kids zone will be up and going. And then we'll start the program at 4 o'clock. We'll start with a moment of silence for Camdan. We'll have a band performance to start off. We'll clear the field. We will recognize our distinguished alumni. We will then recognize our homecoming court. The band will re-enter. They'll form their tunnel. The team will come down, and the team will meet and greet all the fans, autographs, etc. And then the program will end what we feel around 5:30-ish. So the suites will be open if the suite holders want to use them. Club 27 and the AD's area will be open. And, outside of playing a game on the field, we will try to keep normalcy as much as possible. I know there's an infinite amount of questions. What are you going to do next? Are you going to reschedule the game? You have a bye week. There's this date, that date. We have talked about those scenarios internally as this process went on today. I have had discussions with their athletic director about this. I'm not going to address any specifics because we have to really get our heads around what's possible, potential NCAA waivers, et cetera. So while I'm prepared to talk about that, I choose not to because there would be too much conjecture and speculation, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. So with that said, did I forget anything on the day? I'd stand for any questions that anybody has.
With that, I understand you just said you didn't want to go down the rabbit hole, but just with what are the chances, I guess, if you had to put a percentage on it, I guess, that the game would get played at some point this year?
Tough question. But it is something we discussed today, and it is certainly a possibility that this game could be rescheduled. Other questions? I can't believe this.
Mario, was there any, what was the input from Coach Kill from the football side of it?
Coach Kill was in our discussions. He was in the discussion with our campus leadership. He was in the discussions with San Jose State leadership. He was fully supportive of this. I don't know if his exact words was, hey, well, I'm not going to paraphrase him, but he certainly understands the magnitude of the loss and where the sport of football fits into that loss. So while we certainly have a program that we're building and growing, and we have to look out for our interests and what we're going to do moving forward with, a potential bye week coming up and a replacement opponent or rescheduling this game, Coach Kill was fully supportive of the decision that was made.
Colin asked you about potentially playing it this year. I believe it's the second game of the home and home contract from the game that you played last year. Is there contract language where as long as you guys make a good effort to reschedule it, you could kick it down the road if that makes the most sense?
I think that's one of several possibilities, is a postponement to another year. We're certainly not giving up on this year. But, our main focus today was to get our ducks in a row with all the folks that came in for homecoming and all the parade and the pageantry and everything else from our side of it. It's not a decision that needs to be made tomorrow or today, what's going to happen. We also have to have discussions with the NCAA. That is not going to happen, within an hour or two time frame. So while I think we've got some possible scenarios on the board, we really need to sit down and dig deep into all the possible scenarios, other opponents that might be out there, et cetera, and then make the best decision for New Mexico State.
Is the goal first and foremost to get this game rescheduled though?
Certainly that is something that we would like to have happen. There's a lot of other factors at play from San Jose State's side, as far as their remaining schedule, as far as their possible involvement in the Mountain West Conference Championship game. But I would say, a potential reschedule of the game is certainly one of the major possibilities on what happens next and what we really start game planning for next week.
Mario, obviously this is like just a terrible situation. Have you been on either side of this before in this kind of scenario where it's the day before? I mean, it's just, obviously I understand it's a very rare thing to happen anyways, but have you just been on either side of this before?
No, not me personally. I mean, when I was at Mizzou, we had a student athlete pass away, but it was not with a next game, but it was in the season. Obviously you've had games where weather prevents us from playing and a game has to be canceled while the other school had, I remember basketball when Marvin Menzies was the head coach. UTRGV had a homecoming game, but we were iced in Dallas and we couldn't get there. They had to play the game the next day. But as far as tragedy of this magnitude, forcing a game to be postponed, no, that's not something I've had to face in my career.
Is there anything that you can share as to kind of just like what happened today? Maybe I missed it, but did the NMSU side, once the news came out, did you reach out to them, or did they make contact saying like we need, we're thinking about doing this? What do you think? Like can you share anything about the discussions from either side?
Yeah, I got a call this morning from the San Jose State athletic director. It was before the news broke. We immediately thought that we have a kid on our team, Weston Eget, that has a brother on that team. So, we wanted to we want to make sure that he was not personally affected. When we found that out, that's when we started talking, with the university officials. I called Dan or Chancellor Arvizu. We obviously informed Coach Kill, and a lot of phone calls with the leadership, a lot of phone calls with them. I know there was call-ins to their conference. There was call-ins to the NCAA. So it's been kind of a hectic day. Yeah. So that's the Reader's Digest version.
Mario, I know there's so many moving pieces right now, and it's going to be hard to give me an answer on this, but do you have a potential time frame as to when you'll have an answer about whether the game's rescheduled, canceled, what the next move is, I guess?
Yeah, well, I would say this has massively moved up on the to-do list on Monday. So while we will have discussions over the weekend with our team, we will certainly line out all the possibilities. I don't think there's an infinite amount of them. I think there's 3, the same opponent, different opponent, cancel altogether. We'll look at everything. We also had a discussion with Dave Brown from Gridiron, the scheduling guru for college football. So we will map out every possible scenario. We will talk to the leadership. We will talk to the football program, make sure we do what's best for them. And then we'll use that as a guide in our final decision making.
Any other questions for Mario?
No. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you for coming on short notice. Once again, I'm sorry I was not avoiding your phone calls. It was just a little bit of an impossibility with the calls that were coming in. You know, my takeaway is we're going to try to reach all the Aggie fans, you know, on all social media outlets. So any help you can give that while the game is postponed and there won't be a game on the field, you know, we encourage Aggie fans to come out. Obviously, they will come in for free, and you know, we'll get a lot more information on what the next steps are, individuals who purchase tickets, et cetera, you know, hopefully in the coming days.
Awesome. Thank you guys for coming.
Recording.